is John Lucas, and we are doing an introduction to virtualization on a whole. And today we would actually be using the Oracle VM VirtualBox software. So initially, to orchestrate this virtualization, we would have to install this particular program. With regards to the installation of this particular program, we would have to go to our browser, and actually on your regular search engine, you type in VirtualBox. Right, you could go to their first search result on Google, and you could click on the download button. Right here, they will actually give you different packages to download based on the machine that you're currently running. In this case, we are looking for the Windows 7 host, or we could actually click on the VirtualBox 6.1 build, and they actually give you the option here to download. So there we see download is initiated. Alright, so I actually have the software already installed. So in this case, what we would have to do, I'm just going to walk you step by step through the installation process. So here you would have my machine prompting me to install. Obviously click yes. Right, so it's preparing the installation. Right, you agree, next. You would actually have to choose the location. Well, you can leave it as program files, that's your regular hard drive. Press next, and from here you just register the associates. Just click next, and you just proceed with your installation. Alright, for the purpose of this video, I already have it installed, so I'm not going to proceed. So I'm going to come out, yes, to cancel the installation, finish. When that installation is finished, the program will actually be running. So you can open. Right, so here I actually have three of my machines already set up. One is the Server 2019, which this video will focus on, and the Windows 10 ISO. Right, I also have Windows 7. Right, but for the sake of this tutorial, what I'll be doing is showing you how exactly to set this up. So in terms of this particular software, right, it actually allows you to set different parameters within each machine, whether it be the base memory, storage, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually look over. So you want to close here, and you want to go into your browser, and in this case what we're looking for is the ISO file. So with this particular thing, what we'll do is use something called torrenting. Right, so you'd have to go to the web page. Any torrent website should be applicable. Just be very wary in terms of viruses. Right, now make sure you have your antivirus up and running. Right, in this case I will go to our website 1337x. Right, I already have it bookmarked, but for the sake I would actually do this for you, 1337x, and show you exactly how to get onto that particular website. Right, here they will give you the options in terms of the genre of the torrent that you're looking for. So in this case it's applications. Right, you want to go over, you want to type in Server 2019. Right, in this case you scroll down, you see different editions. Keep in mind that the seed rate, the higher the seed rate, the better it is that that torrent has been used. Right, so it's safer in some instances. It's also it's also a tip to actually walk through the comments on the torrent, so that you'll be certain that, okay, this what I'm downloading isn't that bad in terms of viruses. Right, you want to scroll down. In this case you could go to the standard office. Right, so the torrent is actually from this website. However, what you want to do to get that particular torrent, you could download it via a torrent client. Right, so one of the more popular torrent clients is uTorrent. Right, you could go over to their website, and you would actually have the free download option. Right, what this is actually for is uTorrent Web, which is a lighter version. It actually works with coordination of the browser that you're operating under, and will be able to retrieve the file. So if you free download it and you install it, you will get the option. In this case I want to do a magnet download. Right, so it's asking me to open BitTorrent, which is the software that I use. So I don't use uTorrent, I'll use BitTorrent. In this way you could open BitTorrent, and it should be opening within a couple seconds. Right, so there's my information. They will actually give you the details of the torrent. So in total, 4 gigabytes, 4.90 gigabytes. They would actually give you the standard in which they list the items. So you'd see actual popular USB tool here, Rufus 3.8. That's used for OS installation. They would actually have the ISO. So this is what we're paying attention to, this ISO file. Once you actually agree and add it, it will download, seed, and then you'll be able to access. So you're going to do the same basically for Server 2019, and essentially you're going to do the same and go up here and actually use Windows 10. Alright, so in this case it'll be your preference honestly which version of Windows 10. You have the Pro Edition, which tends to be the most popular, right? So once you could click on it, you do the same procedure in terms of the downloading, magnet download, open the uTorrent client. Right, in this case it will take a couple seconds again. Right, the length of time depends on the speed of your internet, which is one aspect, as well as your actual unit or PC. So let me just click on magnet download again and open. And there you go. Right, so Windows 10, right, is an option here. That's the ISO file. That's the particular file we need to work with our VirtualBox. And again, they give you the option to download Rufus, because in this instances where people access this particular type of torrent, they're doing it to install into actual machine. In this case, we're not going to remove essentially the Windows 10 on my system is currently using. We're going to actually just be running it virtually. Right, so again, add and you could download. Right, it will take a couple seconds generally. It depends on the internet speed. Some people it may take longer. Right, so you want to come out of this. Right, so once we actually could come out of this website, you'll be able to run here. Right, so I have my machines already installed. What I'll do is I will do some fresh machines for you, right, as a walkthrough and tutorial. So first we'd have to actually go over to the new tab. Right, now you can name this particular file, right, or machine. So we're gonna be doing let's try Windows 10. Right, the folder in which it's going to store to, and then the ISO image. So here is where we have to go on other. You're going to look for where that ISO image has downloaded after you torrent it. So you're going to go on downloads. In this case I have mine saved on the desktop. Right, so I have my Windows 10. Right, you're going to click that. That's the ISO file. This is the logo usually associated with ISOs. Right, you could also double check here, open. Right, so it's going to open up my machine here. Right, for the sake of this tutorial, I don't want it really to replicate the same as what I have on my other machine here. So I want to put Windows 10 duplicate. Right, hopefully that works. We could click on next. Right, so essentially VirtualBox will assign a username and password. Right, in most cases it's changed me. You could change that. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to change it. Right, you could press next. Right, so we move on to the hardware section. On the hardware section now, you can actually modify the machine's hardware. So this will be dependent heavily on your machine's capability in terms of hardware. But some users, you would see that they would have 4 gigabytes RAM, some have 8, some have more than that. In this case, I tend to leave it at 2048 megabytes, right? And the processor as well, you could actually gauge it up to however much you want, but just keep in mind, again, the accessibility in terms of your machine and the capability. So in this case, I'll put it up to 2 and just press next. Right, in terms of storage space, I generally, if you have a terabyte, you could play around with it. You could put up to about 100 and something gigabytes, 500 gigabytes, but in this case, I will put 20 gigabytes. All right. Next. Right, so this is actually the general layout and summary of everything that you just did. So the machine name, right, which is your essentially a net BIOS, right? Your machine folder, ISO image, the exact ISO image that we plan to install, right? Note to self that this isn't final. You could actually go change this up after it is you finish the installation, right? So you can click on finish, and here I have my Windows 10 duplicate. So it will be powering up my machine, right, for first time installation. And while that is being done, what we were going to do is, oh, okay, so it's actually moving a little faster than I thought it would. So you can close off this. This is basically your notifications. From here, you could actually, if you're having any issues in terms of technical stuff with your input, meaning your keyboard, you could actually have the input option here. You could go to keyboard, and you have many options. You have your Control Alt Delete in case you have any issues in terms of the software, right? In this case, we wouldn't be doing that. Close off this, and here you go. So Windows 10 here is essentially going to be installing, right? Remember, this is the duplicate version. I already have mine essentially set up way past this. So let's wait for that to install. Right, so at this particular point, our installation is almost finished. What Windows is currently doing is just finishing the setup in terms of the operating system. Right, one thing to note is that the next step will include basically retrieving that same ISO file of Server 2019 from our desktop folder, and then we will do the relevant installation necessary for this machine. Right, so at this point, Windows 10 would have been fully installed. Here it is in function. Right, what we want to do actually is we don't want to keep the machine running, right? So we could power off, right? At this option, get a shutdown, right? Virtual machine will shut down. Skip, here you go. Right, so we let that shut down. What we're going to do is move on to the next step, which is the critical step. That's Server 2019. We need that machine. So we click on New. We click on, well, in this case, I'm going to make a duplicate again. Right. You go down to ISO image. You click on Other. And you go to where I have my desktop. Server 2019. And there, again, look out for the ISO file. You would know when you get it. Press open, and then at this point you would actually proceed with the installation. Again, same procedure in terms of the password. You could press on next, and in this case memory, same procedure. So again, 2 cores. We go on to the following procedure. This size, again, I'll use the 20 or 30 gigabytes in this instance. Let's go with the 20. Right, 20 gigabytes. Right, following next. Right, so again, the layout in terms of your specifications. Note that you could also change this as well, as mentioned before. Right, you go to the finish. Right, so we have the Server 2019, which should be powering up within a couple of seconds. Alright, again, you will get the auto capture coming on. Right, so this is the installation. Right, so while this is essentially installing, what we want to do is we could leave that running in the background, right? And we want to go to where we have this actual machine, which is the Windows 10. In my case, it's the duplicate. In your case, it will be the Windows 10 because you just named it after the ISO, right? You could actually go to settings, and we want to change a couple of things. Right, in this case, we want to change to the fact that we actually need to connect these machines to the internet. Right, so you want to go to network, you want to go to enabling the network adapter. In this case, click on the advanced tab. Right, so your adapter type, if it is you actually want to figure that out, you could go onto your settings in Windows and you'll be able to display what particular adapter you're network is currently using. Right, in this instance, it's going to automatically assume it's the Intel Pro 1000 empty desktop. That's mine. Right, you want to go to there on attach to. We want to change this NAT to bridge adapter. Right, bridge adapter. Here you would have promiscuous mode. This is a critical step. Make sure that it is on allow all, and then you have your cable connected. Right, we're going to apply these same changes here to our other machine which is currently installing. So you're going to press OK. Okay, so once your server 2019 is finished with the installation, you'll be met with the server manager opening. What you want to do, we'll get to this later on in terms of the actual setup, right? But we want to close this, right? And again, we want to repeat that step that we did with the Windows 10, right? So again, we want to just do a proper shutdown, right? In this case, you could actually click planned, right? They basically will give you other options, right? Plan, continue, and you are shutting down your server. Right, so once your server is shut down, we want to go to that particular machine. We want to go on settings. Right, we want to go to network, and again, change that to bridge adapter. Again, your actual adapter will come up. Promiscuous mode, make sure that's always on allow all, and in short, this checkbox here is always connected. Cable connected, press OK. Right, so that completes our setup, right, of the both virtual machines. We have the server 2019, Windows Server 2019, and Windows 10.